Good morning. Welcome to Merivit Education Center. This is for Science in English M.2. Our topic today is the nervous system. Take a look at these pictures. These pictures show the anatomy of the nervous system. Here are our objectives. First, students are able to identify the parts of the nervous system. Number two, you will be able to determine the functions of the parts of the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. And third, lastly, you will also be able to learn on how to protect the nervous system. Our nervous system consists of two components: the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is composed of two parts: the brain and the spinal cord. On the other hand, the peripheral nervous system has the cranial and the spinal nerves. However, these two components of nervous system are just connected to perform properly their functions as one body system. Well, you already know about the meaning of the CNS, right? Very good. As you can see in the picture, we have here the brain and the spinal cord. These are the two main parts of the CNS. Well, what do you think is the function of the CNS? Awesome! It controls the body and the mind. What is the role of the brain in our body? The brain plays a very important role in our body because the functions of the brain controls our thoughts, memories, and speech, movement of the arms and legs, and the function of many organs within our body. The brain has so many parts. Do you know some of its parts? These are some of the important parts of the brain: the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the medulla oblongata, the cerebrum, and cerebellum. Do you know that each plays a specific role in the brain? Let's go and find out what each of these do in the brain. Come on, let's go. Thalamus. This part of the brain is responsible for the incoming and the outgoing information in the brain brought by our neurons. Next, you have the hypothalamus. As part of the brain, the hypothalamus controls the body temperature, osmoregulation, and sexual function. It also controls thirst, the feeling of hunger, emotional activity, and of course, sleep. The medulla oblongata. What is the medulla oblongata? Fantastic. It functions to control and coordinate all involuntary actions such as digestion, respiration, and beating of the heart. What parts of the brain have we learned so far? Terrific. We have learned about the thalamus, the hypothalamus, and the medulla oblongata. Now, well, here's more. The cerebrum. It functions as a center of our thinking, reasoning, speech, and memory. It also initiates and controls all voluntary actions like walking, writing, and jumping. You would probably have trouble doing many motor functions when your cerebrum is damaged. Next is the cerebellum. The cerebellum functions in coordinating body movements and maintains the body's balance. You will not be able to walk straight if your cerebellum is injured. Lastly, the second part of the CNS is the spinal cord. What is the spinal cord? Incredible! It functions as the primary transmission of nerve signals from the motor cortex to the body, and from the afferent fibers of the sensory neurons to the sensory cortex. It is also a center for coordinating many reflexes and contains reflex arcs that can independently control reflexes. Now, did you remember the two components of the nervous system? Very good. The CNS and the PNS. Now, let's learn about the peripheral nervous system. What are the two parts of the peripheral nervous system? Very good. The two main parts of the PNS are the cranial and spinal nerves. Do you know the functions of the PNS? The function of PNS is to connect the CNS to the limbs and the organs, essentially serving as a relay between the brain and the spinal cord and the rest of the body. The cranial nerves. The cranial nerves are sets of 12 nerves that originate from the brain. Each nerve has a different function for sense or movement, and its functions are for sensory, motor, or both. Sensory cranial nerves help a person to see, smell, and hear. Spinal nerves. Do you have any idea of what are spinal nerves for? Exactly. Their main function is to carry impulses to the muscles of the body. Do you remember how we subdivided the PNS? Great! They are the cranial and the spinal nerves. What do you think are the cells that transmit information from the brain to the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves? Fabulous! Neurons. Neurons are nerve cells that transmit information in the form of an electrical impulse. Here are the three types of neurons. Number one, motor neuron. Number two, interneuron. Number three, sensory neuron. A neuron, whether sensory, motor, or interneuron, has parts. Do you know what these parts are? Good. A neuron has an axon, dendrites, dendron, myelin sheath, the node of Ranvier. This table shows the functions of each part. Did you remember the three types of neuron? Exactly. We have sensory, interneuron, and motor neuron. This table shows the comparison among the three types of neurons. It shows that some structures in each type of neurons have different sizes and location. The picture shows the example of a pathway transmission of information. It starts with a stimulus to the receptor organ like the eyes, and then transmitted to the brain through sensory neuron, and then the brain sends signal to the effector organ like the arm through the motor neuron. and the motor organ does the response. The nervous system is a very important system of our body. We need to protect it. Now, how can we protect our nervous system? Here are the ways on how to protect the nervous system. First, avoid injuries to the brain and the spinal cord. Second, avoid smoking, taking drugs, and taking alcohol, as these substances can harm the brain. Third, exercise regularly. Fourth, eat a balanced diet. Fifth, maintain a healthy weight. And sixth, lastly, rest well and manage stress well. Task time. Bring out your workbook. Open it on page 6, 7, and 8 and answer the questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good luck! Thank you for listening and see you on the next episode.